As to count one, charging Hunty with making a false statement in connection with the acquisition of a firearm, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
No, I'm serious. Think about it. How many times have you heard this phrase? The blood of liberty. Wash of dough. Give me a break.
No one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant.
Hunter Biden found guilty. 3 new felonies against the Biden crime family. And it feels like a little bit of a letdown because there should be maybe 300 of them, not just 3. And so we know that this whole thing was rigged from the beginning. In fact, David Weiss, the special counsel who we're going to hear from post-verdict in a minute, he didn't even want this thing to be charged in the first place. He was engineering a non-prosecution agreement pre-indictment, meaning nothing would ever hit the docket. They would just settle this thing out of court, essentially. And then that started to get derailed. Pressure from Ziegler and from Shapley, the IRS whistleblowers, who blew the lid off this whole thing, revealed it to America, and then they couldn't do that anymore. So they worked out a plea deal that essentially was an unspoken immunity deal for Hunter. And when he was about to take that plea deal, the judge called it out, said, we're opening up this little disgusting crevice. And she probably had to put on latex gloves before she did it. But she looked inside of it. She didn't like what she saw. And she asked Hunter about it. What do you want to do? Because they're saying you don't have clear immunity. Do you want to take the deal? He said no. He should have done it. And we commented on that back then on that day. Because look what happened. He done goofed big time. Now he's got 3 felony convictions. When he's sentenced, it'll ultimately be the final judgment and he'll be convicted of these. So that is a big mistake from him and his lawyers. The question is it going to matter? Is daddy just going to come pardon him and take care of it like he's been doing for him his whole life? We'll go through it and see. But we got the verdict form. We got Hunter's statements, Biden's statement, and Biden's canceling everything at the White House to go take care of his family and his crackhead son. And then reaction from Trump coming up along with some other people from Congress. But let's take a look at this verdict form so we can etch this into the memory books. Verdict form, the case, United States of America versus Robert Hunter Biden in the District of Delaware, as to count one, charging Hunty with making a false statement in connection with the acquisition of a firearm, we, the jury, find the defendant guilty. As to count 2, charging the defendant with making a false statement with respect to information required to be kept in records, we, the jury, find the defendant, Hunter Biden, guilty. And as to count 3, charging Hunter with possession of a firearm by a person who is the unlawful user of an addicted or controlled substance, we, the jury, find Hunter, the defendant, guilty. And that is the 3 charges. All right, so that's the verdict form signed by the jury, June 11, 2024. But anyways, names of the jurors are all listed here. Now, this is the exhibit list. So this is simultaneously what was filed today, the 11th, the joint exhibit, and the witness list. So here's all the evidence that came out against Hunter. And it was really hard to gauge this trial because a lot of what we read was not from a live tweet thread at all. It was all filtered through NBC, or the other one was CNN, because they were literally passing notes out the doors to report on the news. So we couldn't really get a good gauge of what was happening inside other than what we heard from Garrett Ziegler, MarcoPoloUSA.org. And he was explaining to us that the media portrayal of what was happening in the courtroom wasn't exactly matching what was happening in the courtroom. And largely that the Biden family was scoffing and hissing and just upset about everything. Oh, I can't believe, it's ridiculous. And they play Hunter saying, I'm a crackhead. They go, oh gosh. And there was a treasure trove of evidence of criminality. But remember, Gordon Cleveland was a witness. He brought in photos of the gun, the cartridges, the speed loader all came in through him. Hallie Biden, we got the brown leather pouch and photos of the pouch. He's the one who got it, threw it away. Photos of the pouch by the chemist who analyzed it. We got the gun case and photos of the gun case from the gun guy. StarQuest emails, all certified by FBI agent Erica Jensen. All of these other things came in through her. So StarQuest, firearm certificate, summary of the messages from her. Erica Jensen had a bunch of the photos. All these audiobook excerpts and Better Things audiobook, more things from him. AT&T phone numbers, cash withdrawal charts. Sidebar, this came in. Zoe Keston was the other stripper who came in, and we got photos from her phone. Gross. Hallie Biden, some more surveillance videos, bank account records, photos of the markets, and then the testimony of all of these people. This is basically the log of everything that came in that resulted in the guilty verdict. And so that is where it stands. Now, this was Hunter exiting the courtroom, the court building, now with 2 looming felony convictions on a gun crime. All All right, so that's what it looked like. He was exiting, and we ultimately got a statement from him. So here is what that looks like. Hunter and his attorney both reacted. Here's their formal statements. They said, from the attorney, "We are naturally disappointed by today's verdict, and we respect the jury process, as we have done throughout this case, and as we will continue to vigorously pursue all the legal challenges available to Hunter. Through all he has been through in his recovery, including this trial, Hunter has felt grateful for and blessed by the love and the support of his family." The same Jill that he called a C, that one? All right, Hunter said this. "I'm more grateful today for the love and support I experienced this last week from Melissa, my family, my friends, and my community than I am disappointed by the outcome. Recovery is possible by the grace of God." Oh, gosh. "And I am blessed to experience that gift one day at a time." All right, we called that this morning. We said, watch Hunter have this Christian rebirth. Watch it. And just like I doubt, and it's kind of bad for him to do that, but just like I have a lot of questions about his fake recovery, he tries to talk the language of recovery, and then there's crack at the White House, cocaine at the White House. All right, so that's Hunter. Biden came out with this statement. He says, "As I said last week, Joe, I am the president, but I am also a dad. Jill and I love our son, and we are so proud of the man he is today. So many families who have had loved ones battle addiction, as I have, understand the feeling of pride seeing someone you love come out the other side and be so strong and resilient in recovery. As I've also said last week, I will accept the outcome of this case and will continue to respect the judicial process as Hunter considers an appeal," which he will. "Jill and I will always be there for Hunter and the rest of our family with our love and support. Nothing will ever change that." It's a good statement. That's a nice, fair statement. And you would expect Joe to pardon him, clearly, because that's what a father would do for a son on his way out. And I don't even think I would blame him for that. But that's just something you have to do, I think. And this is a statement that he has to make, so I wouldn't take much credence to it. It's an election statement that balances both sides of this. If push comes to shove on his way out, you don't think he's going to pardon him? Give me a break. All right, so we'll see. Now, here is what happened. So this was an earthquake for Joe. We know that Joe was already depressed about this. We've covered many stories on this. Joe thinks about it all the time. What's going to happen to my son? And Hunter might be in some serious trouble because he's got another case coming up, and he's also got a criminal referral from James Comer. James Comer was going to send this to the DOJ, saying he should be charged with new crimes for perjury, lying to Congress, and other items. That's in addition to his criminal trial in September in California. So Joe is now shifting course. He says on June 11th, an update. "The president will depart the Washington Hilton en route to Joint Base Andrews. The departure from Washington Hilton and the arrival to Joint Base Andrews will be covered by the in-town travel pool. Then the president will depart Joint Base Andrews to Wilmington, Delaware. And the departure from Andrews will be covered by the in-town pool. When he's over there, it'll be covered by the out-of-town pool." His schedule changed pretty rapidly. And in fact, the press briefing got canceled. Karine was supposed to come out. We know she's not very competent about answering hard questions. And on this one, kind of like, who's she going to defer it to? "Hey, Karine, what does the president say about or think about his son?" "I'm going to defer that to the president's office." So they just canceled it. Here's what the CNN says.
Kayla Tausche live for us at the White House. Kayla, we'll let you get to that press briefing that was obviously delayed by the president's remarks. It actually just got canceled.
Yeah, we just learned that.
Whoops.
Briefing canceled after the president's son was convicted.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break, I think.
Why don't you guys call her just a weak little coward, okay, who doesn't want to come out and answer any questions about it? So that got canceled as well. And Joe Biden, for some reason, was still speaking at a gun speech today. So he was here at this event trying to dement his way through another speech before he goes back to take care of Hunty.
I used to be a law, when I no longer the vice president, I became a professor at the
That's not
University
true.
of Pennsylvania.
No.
Before that, I taught a constitutional law class. And so
No,
I
you
taught
didn't.
The Second Amendment. There's never been a time
You didn't do
says
that,
you can
no.
own anything you want. Never. You couldn't own a cannon during the Civil War. No, I'm serious. Think about it. How much have you heard this phrase? The blood of liberty washeth those. Give me a break. And by the way,
He couldn't even finish the quote.
if they want to think to take on government, if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle. Folks, look, this is crazy what we're talking about.
You're crazy, brother.
Because whether we're Democrats or Republicans, we want our families to be safe.
Okay, so that's the leader of America. Apparently, we're going to need F-15s to fight our government. Is he waging war on us now? So, all right, that's him. And there was another scene from him. And here is what that sounded like. He got a little stumbly on this one. Almost sound like Joe here.
No, 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 no. No, no. Folks. It's okay. Look, They care. Innocent children have been lost. They make a point. Come on now.
All right, so that's Joe having a hard time. He's talking about gun safety at a gun safety event. His son just got convicted of a gun felony. Isn't that beautiful for America? What a country. So here is David Weiss. Now, David Weiss is in a weird position. This is the special prosecutor, so-called special prosecutor, which is outstanding because remember, he was the original prosecutor who was investigating the case. Then we had questions about his ethics and his interest of justice and whether he was committed to it or not. And so they just kind of shifted him. He was already the regular counsel. And so we said, there might be a problem here. What should we do about that? And they said, oh, we know. We're just going to make David Weiss the special counsel. So here's Weiss. We'll listen to him. It's like 3 minutes, and he's going to give us the same Trump propaganda. So they're going to try to parlay this into this no one's above the law stuff. And that's the moniker that they're going to try to use against Trump in 2024. What this is proving to us is that Hunter is clearly above the law. Joe Biden is clearly above the law. The Democrats are constantly above the law, but they are using this as propaganda to say, see, the justice system is equal. And all the Republicans out there who are delegitimizing this ruling are helping them.
My name is David Weiss. I'm special counsel. Earlier today, Hunter Biden was convicted of 2 counts of lying on a form submitted to a federal firearms dealer about his addiction or use of crack cocaine and possessing a firearm while a user or addict. There have been 2 overarching themes emphasized by the prosecution during trial: this defendant's illegal choices and the rule of law. First, while there has been much testimony about the defendant's abuse of drugs and alcohol, ultimately this case was not just about addiction, a disease that haunts families across the United States, including Hunter Biden's family. This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun and the choice to then possess that gun. It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made his conduct dangerous. Second, no one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant. However,
he's not being held accountable for his actions. This was a slap on the wrist, a red light ticket in a manslaughter DUI.
Hunter Biden should be no more accountable than any other citizen convicted of this same conduct. The prosecution has been and will continue to be committed to this principle and to the principles of federal prosecution in carrying out its responsibilities. I want to thank the jury for their service. There are few civic responsibilities more important than jury service. 15 Delawareans came to court each day and performed their responsibilities in a professional and conscientious manner. We thank them. I want to thank Derek Hines, Leo Wise, and the entire special counsel team. I am so proud of this group of attorneys, agents, and litigation professionals. This is a difficult assignment. These folks have been working 7 days a week for the last couple months, litigating a variety of issues in district and appellate courts on 2 coasts. They have given their heart and soul to this work. They represent the best that public service has to offer. I am incredibly grateful. Finally, I want to thank Attorney General Garland for providing the support necessary to fulfill our mission, ensuring that we have the independence to appropriately pursue our investigations and prosecution. As you know, we have additional trials and investigative work to be done, so I will not entertain questions at this time. Our work continues.
Yeah, we got another trial coming up.
For your consideration.
Okay, so yeah, are you going to offer Hunter a plea deal in the other case? And is Hunter going to take a plea deal in the other case? I don't know about that. I mean, Hunter had a lot of bravado when he rejected that first plea deal. Do you think this is going to humble him up a bit and he may consider that? Who knows? So how'd the jury come to their conclusion? Well, one juror is out there making the waves on the media, was on with CNN, was on, I think, with Fox, all over the place. And this was one of the first I saw from the Daily Caller right after the verdict came out. This was fresh. 10:12 this morning. Juror comes out. He's like, I'm out of court. Who wants to talk to me? Here's my number. Send me a text. So here is what this juror sounds like.
I'll tell you, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. Like, it was very sad that he was being convicted of these crimes, but that his life had turned out the way it did.
So was there a lot of discussion about that, or was it really just looking at what the prosecution and the defense?
There wasn't a lot of discussion about his lifestyle. It was just the evidence that we were listening to. We didn't discuss a lot about Hunter's lifestyle, and like I said, it was very sad. And
what's sad?
When Haley testified, I mean, that was, for me, that was a very sad time because I did not know that Haley also got not addicted to crack.
And it sounds
I really felt
Yeah, why would you know that? Because you shouldn't know anything about the case at all. You shouldn't have really even known Hunter was addicted to crack before you came in, right?
sorry for that.
It sounds like from what you're saying is that you were in the belief that he was guilty all along. You were not in the camp initially who did not think you thought he should be acquitted. You thought he was guilty. And correct me if I'm wrong, but what convinced you as you were assessing the evidence that he was guilty?
The majority of the questions was when he filled out that form at the gun shop, okay, and he listed no, he was not it. When it said, are you a unlawful addiction to drugs?
Yeah.
Or are you addicted to drugs? When I first read the first one and hearing all the evidence, I believed that he was, and he did knowingly buy the gun, knowing that he was a drug addict and knowing that he was addicted.
Yes. I do want to ask you just one quick question. There's a lot of talk about the jurors knowing, everybody knowing a Biden in Delaware. There's a lot of discussion about that going in. Did anybody have a personal connection to Joe Biden and the Biden family? Did that play into the discussion at all?
Not at all. The family was not at all. We didn't discuss. We didn't use Jill. We didn't use
Sounds like a good jury.
President Biden. Like I was telling someone earlier, like President Biden never really even came into play for me because his name was only brought up once during the trial. And that's when it kind of sunk in a little bit. Oh, wow, this is the sitting president's son who's on trial. And that was kind of hard and to know what the trial's about now. But you kind of put that out of your mind. And after it was brought up again, I did put it out of my mind. I never really...
All right, so that's what he sounds like. That's what the conversation is like. Sounds like the evidence was pretty clear. Jury did what the jury should have done based on the evidence presented. It was clear. It was a form. There's evidence that he's sending text messages saying, yeah, I'm on the hood of a car, blacked out on crack right now. That's where I'm at. Leave me alone. That's what that was about. That's why they prosecuted it. And Trump reacted. Now, earlier on the day, there was fake post that was being spread about, but turns out it was fake. This is the real one. June 11, 2024, Trump campaign statement came out from Caroline Leavitt. Says this trial has been nothing more than a distraction from the real crimes of the Biden crime family, which has raked in tens of millions of dollars from China, Russia, and Ukraine. Crooked Joe Biden's reign over the Biden family criminal empire is all coming to an end on November 5th, and never again will a Biden sell government access for personal profit. Well done. So we'll see a lot more of that, and Joe Biden now is going to also weaponize this as propaganda for his campaign, and his little puppy out here, Andrew Weissman, who does a lot of his yapping on behalf of the Biden administration, is out saying that Joe Biden is now the living embodiment of the rule of law, which is just a wild. We hear a lot of sycophants on this show. This is like level 11 out of 10. It's absolutely wild. All right, let's listen.
You know, I'm less interested in the particulars of the case. This is a gun charge. The proof was overwhelming. I agree with your other panelists that it is rarely charged. In my experience over 21 years at the department, I never saw this kind of case brought. It would normally be somebody who was a felon in possession of a gun that would be charged. I'm more interested in what it tells us about the rule of law in this country in two ways. One, the son of the sitting president was pretty quickly tried. He was given due process and he was found guilty. And you have the current president, the father of the defendant, making it absolutely clear that he is not pardoning him, that he could have ordered at any time his Justice Department to get rid of this case. He did not do that.
Maybe
he has said that he is not planning on pardoning him as well. And I really think that if you look at this case, what is the big picture here? It's not drug addict who possessed a gun for 2 weeks. It is that you have a president of the United States who is living embodiment of the rule of law, even with respect to his...
Okay. Joe Biden, who broke 234 years of historical precedent in order to prosecute his political opponents and has been orchestrating the whole thing, is a living embodiment of the rule of law. Has he looked at the border? Does he know what's happening down there? Golly. Okay, so that was Weissman. Now here's some other reaction from some people in Congress, and we got a couple clips. Representative Jason Smith, who is on the Treasury Committee, the Finance Committee, he said, you know, let's pause and say shout out to our whistleblowers, please. If it were not for the IRS whistleblowers, yes, Ziegler and Shapley, coming forward to the Ways and Means Committee, Hunter Biden would have never faced accountability for the crimes he has committed, and he still won't for most of them. Today's verdict is a step forward towards ensuring equal application of the law regardless of one's last name. Yeah, so we're not done yet, but we are making some progress. So that's from Jason Smith. We've seen a lot of his work, so a little bit of celebration for him. We also had Caitlin Collins. She said Biden's going back to Delaware. Comer came out with a statement, says Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal was smoked out after scrutiny by a federal judge, Judge Norica. Today's verdict is a step toward accountability, but until the Department of Justice investigates everyone involved in the Biden's corrupt influence peddling schemes that generated over $18 million in foreign payments to the Biden family, it will be clear department officials continue to cover for the big guy, Joe Biden. Another good statement from Comer. Here's one from another individual by the name of Hunter. We had his statement, and Andrew Clyde said, Hunter Biden's guilty verdict is nothing more than the left's attempt to create the illusion of equal justice. Don't fall for it. Exactly right. They're going to use this. They're going to say, see? And they're also going to say, you can't continue to investigate him. It's all done. Special counsel David Weiss looked into everything. So leave Hunty alone will be the argument. And that is from Congress. So Trump and some Congress people have it right on the head. And Hunter now found guilty. Of course, there will be sentencing that comes down the line. And when that gets scheduled, Judge Norica will issue an order. We'll get that on the calendar at robertgovea.com, and we'll be covering what the sentence is. The question for you, what do you think is going to happen? Jail? No jail? Probation? Are we going to see any home detention? Are we going to see a pardon from Joe after he loses the presidency on his way out of office? Time will tell. We'll be covering it. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it. And thank you for subscribing, my friends. If you enjoyed this video, we got another great one coming up. Would really much appreciate it if you shared this content, our channel, with a friend or family member so that they could see what's happening behind the scenes in these trials. We'll look forward to seeing you on our next video and right back here on the next one.